Yeah, you got half a second to do a quick sound check if you want.
I good?
That's good. Perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah, so please cut your video and audio now. Same with you, Alex.
Yep.
Dan Cohen, you didn't give us a sound check, but I see you there. Should be okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this event. We're just going to have a few minutes while we let people in, so bear with us, and then we'll look forward to welcoming you.
My goodness, Mary, you have a deep voice.
And if I could encourage everyone who is not speaking to keep themselves on mute and to stop your video. We're going to focus on the speakers. So thanks for doing that. So thanks to everyone for joining today. We're just going to get going in about a minute. So please bear with us while we let the last few sign in, and we'll get going at 3 minutes past. Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the 2021 New England Cleantech Landscape. We're really excited to expand the event this year to all of New England and happy to see partners and startups from across the region. We have over 160 people registered. I think we've got about 150 on now. And of those, 74 of you are startups who are wanting to learn about opportunities in the region. And we've got about 20 partners to tell them how they can help them in this journey that they're starting. So I'm Alistair Pym. I'm the VP of Innovation and Partnerships at NECEC, and I'll be emceeing the event today. Some of you may not know NECEC, but we're a non-profit focused on growing the clean economy in the Northeast and making this region the best place in the world to start, scale, and grow a clean tech startup. Now, to do this, we advocate for favorable policy at the state level. We run 2 programs to support entrepreneurs that you'll hear about later. And then we convene the ecosystem at various events to help develop the market. We're dedicated also to securing a just transition to this clean economy, one that corrects the disproportionate impacts of climate change and secures a better future for all. So I'm not sure I need to tell many of you why we're all working on clean tech solutions to fight climate change, but just in case, The IPCC report that was published a couple of years ago, stating that we need to reduce greenhouse gas emissions to 0 by 2050 to keep temperature down to 1.5 degrees C rise. And we now see most states in the Northeast have set their own goals for 2050, and some have even set intermediate goals for 2030. So we're in this important decade of action. But even though we have lots of cost-effective technology to deploy already, we still need innovation to bring those costs down and speed up the process. So this means there are plenty of opportunities for entrepreneurs to help, whether that be in deploying more renewable generation, reducing emissions in transportation or buildings, modernizing the grid to accept more dynamic supply and demand, or reducing emissions in agriculture or in the water energy nexus. So the Northeast region has become a world-class hub of cleantech innovation, thanks to the wide range of universities working on the challenges in the region, the availability of talent and of capital to invest in startups, and also the favorable state policies and programs and goals that incent and encourage innovation. It's an amazing ecosystem that you're all part of, and it has all the ingredients necessary to support cleantech startups, and it's a model for other hubs across the country and even around the world. So if we could go to the next slide, please, Mary Elizabeth. So after our keynote speaker, who I will introduce a bit later, we're going to hear from the organizations in the Northeast that support entrepreneurs, and also from the startups that have graduated from their programs as testimonials. Now, there are a lot of people on the call today, so I'd like to ask you to keep your videos and audio off until you speak. And you're all going to get a chance to speak in the breakouts. And Mary Elizabeth, next slide, please. Thank you. I hope you all have the right version of Zoom so you can participate in those breakouts. You should have seen that in the guide that was sent out to you. Once we get going with the breakouts, you should see an icon down the bottom in your menu strip saying breakouts. And once our events team sets up the breakout rooms, you'll see a list of about 10 rooms to join. If you hover over the room that you want to visit and click join, you'll be sent into that room. And then you'll have a choice of who you want to see. You'll be able to go to more than one breakout in each session, so you can move around if you like. And I'd encourage you, if you're in a busy room, to go to another room which might be less busy. And as you can see, we've split out the agenda. So we'll hear from 10 startups, partners and startups first, then breakouts, and then we'll repeat the format for the rest. So this is a big, complicated event. So I just wanted to say thank you to the team that helped us plan it and organize it. Our events partner, Field Associate, who's running the slides and helping us with Zoom today, the NECEC team, and also some of the Cleantech committee from the MIT Enterprise Forum that ran this event the last 2 years. So thank you to everyone who helped. But thank you also to all the partners and startups who are speaking today. And finally, thanks to everyone for coming. So before we get started with the presentations, we're going to hear from a representative from one of the largest clean energy investment firms worldwide. I'm delighted to introduce Bhagavi from Breakthrough Energy Ventures, who will give us her perspective on her role and the importance of the cleantech ecosystem. So prior to Breakthrough Energy Ventures, Bhagavi worked in operations and finance roles at Roche and ExxonMobil. So, and during that time, she also had experience in petroleum refining operations and engineering design. She's also co-founded Pico Energy to provide off-grid solar electricity to rural businesses in developing country. And she holds an MBA from Harvard Business School and a Bachelor of Science in Chemical Biological Engineering from MIT. So she knows a lot. So Bhagavi, over to you.
Thanks, Alistair. Appreciate the intro. Today, I'm going to talk to you about why this is a great time to build a clean tech company and some things you should consider as you begin this journey. Clean tech is no longer a niche area in a corner of startup land. We are front and center thanks to the global climate movement led by concerned citizens. There's also capital flowing in from financial institutions marked for ESG that they're ready to deploy into the space. Tech companies are taking a leadership role as first customers. They're willing to buy everything from carbon credits to concrete. And there's also a policy that's helping companies push through the incumbent competitors. My question for you is, how will you use these tailwinds for your company? The journey you started embarking on is not going to be an easy one. That's because the problem you're solving isn't easy. We are fundamentally going to have to rewire every part of the world economy in order to get to zero emissions. Where we live, eat, what we eat, how we move, the things we use, and how we power it all. You need to pick a part of the problem that you're truly passionate about and get to work. As you build your company, hone in on 3 or 4 things that you're really good at and become the best at these. Next, you'll have to figure out where the gaps are and how to supplement them. This may be something you do by finding a co-founder that can fill in and complement your experiences and skills. Or you can grow the team eventually as your company grows. Whatever you do, make sure that you use the resources available in this ecosystem, especially in the New England area, as you build out your team. We're going to hear over the next 2 hours from several of our partners, as Alistair mentioned. But even after hearing all this, 6 months from now, when you're knee deep in a problem and you're confused about who to reach out to any one of us. We're all in this together. We work with each other, and we're going to make this as easy for you as possible. Because trust me, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. This is a hard enough problem to solve as is. One of the hardest skills for entrepreneurs to succeed in this space is the ability to exist on multiple levels of extremes. I don't have a lot of time on that, so I'll just give you one example, but there's a ton of ways that entrepreneurs need this to succeed. For example, when you're building out the company at the stage you're in right now, you might need to create a game-changing product, but only focusing on the product is not enough. You have to create a larger company around this product that enables you to capture a larger part of the value chain and become a market leader in this area that you're delving into. So getting into the details is really important, but at the same time, not getting caught up in the details is also important. And as an entrepreneur, you have to be able to do both and do it on multiple levels. So that's just one example, but successful entrepreneurs are really able to master moving from one level to another. And it's not something that they're born with, right? Like they have to practice it. And it's something that you can start practicing too today. Another thing that you need to practice is figuring out how to get your company to reflect the world you want it to be. And hopefully that world is diverse, inclusive, and equitable. DEI isn't a check the box issue. It's not a black square you post on social media and move on. You have to build this into your company from day one. It will affect not only the customers you target externally and partners that you work with, but also internally on the team that you build, the talent that you recruit, but also what you will do to work to retain and make sure that they thrive. I came across a very interesting talk on combating anti-Blackness in the AI community by Devin Guillory, who's a PhD student at Berkeley. And quite frankly, this is everything that he says is applicable across all industries, including our own. Let's take a look at his thoughts on why we need diverse teams.
I guess lastly on industry, maybe my favorite one, diverse teams perform better is an extremely common refrain within the diversity and inclusion world. And my challenge to that is, so what, right? Diverse teams perform better. That's besides the point. The point should be for pushing for a more equitable space. And this just seems predatory in nature would be the way that I would say it, right? If the reason that we're championing diversity and equity and inclusion is because it can make us more money, like what happens when that stops being the case? Do we stop? Do we go, like, is it, if a team that includes Black people is only as good as an all-white team, do we no longer care about this? This is something that we should really investigate, because I guess one of the reasons why I feel strongly about this is because my question is, diverse teams perform better. There's a lot of thought that like diverse teams perform better because of diversity of thought and different lived experiences, and perhaps that is the case. Perhaps it's also the case that diverse teams perform better because Black talent is severely underleveled, right? You have people at software engineer who should be senior or staff. You have people that's manager who should be director, and things like that. And so when you have these diverse teams, they're more talented because they've been undervalued by your organization. And so of course these teams perform better. These people should be in higher roles. And if we fix that inequality, then from my perspective, I expect a lot of these diverse teams performing better to go away. As well as sometimes this thing is used to undermine some diversity efforts, that we're pushing for, we need diversity of thought. Again, that might or might not be the case, but I think there's sufficient evidence that diverse and Black talent is under-leveled within organizations all across our industry. And I think we should focus on addressing things like that.
Thanks.
Okay,
Thanks,
so switching topics really quickly.
So that's a really quick clip from a talk that I think everybody should watch the full thing. It was very illuminating, but think about kind of go beyond why this needs to happen and figure out what it takes for you for day one to make this company that you're building intentional and thoughtful, because these skills will serve you well overall as you build the company. The Northeast, the New England, Cleantech ecosystem is here to support you as you go through this process. On a personal note, I'm really happy that you're going on this journey. You're going to learn an incredible amount and then contribute back to the rest of us what you learn. I'm happy to take this discussion in the breakout room shortly. Over to you, Alistair.
Thank you very much, Bhagavi. That was great, really insightful, and appreciate your openness to stay around later in the breakout room. So let's move on straight away to the partner and startup presentations. And I'm going to ask Judith Underwood from the Blue Incubator to start the proceedings. So Judith, over to you. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Alistair. Can you hear me okay? Okay. Welcome. I'm from Blue Institute Labs and the Blue Incubator. And we are focused on the oceans and clean water. We are a graduate of the Cleantech Open. We are part and parcel of the Northeast Cleantech community. And as you can see from this slide, that offshore wind, aquaculture, shipping, all of these things are tied in with clean tech. So when you hear blue economy, think that clean tech is a big part of blue economy. If you could advance the slide, please, or do I? Thank you. So just in short, we are focused on creating a waterfront innovation center, but during COVID, we're running 2 programs. One is an advanced accelerator focused on pilots and prototyping, and the other is a year-long cohort. If you could go to the next slide, please. And lastly, I'd like to introduce Mark Abdallah from Ithaca Clean Energy Center, which is one of the companies we're helping. Thank you.
Thank you, Judith. Everyone on this call knows we need renewable energy for a sustainable world. But how do we make renewable energy development itself sustainable? My name is Mark Abdallah. I'm co-founder of Ithaca Clean Energy. We provide an AI-driven software as a service platform that will help streamline offshore wind projects, enable data sharing, and ultimately, we want to make offshore wind development sustainable. Our mission is to digitize offshore wind. We have a decade of experience on our team in offshore wind that we are transferring to the Northeast, where we are now headquartered by New Bedford, Massachusetts. We believe New Bedford will become a hub for offshore wind development throughout the Northeast United States. We incorporated 2 years ago, and we have accomplished a lot since, but we're very excited about the year ahead. Looking at offshore wind, from our experience, we know each development farm costs on average $3 billion in capital expenditures. Typically, they run 35% over budget, and typically they run 2 years behind schedule. Fishery mitigation compensation costs $30 million. Not a big deal in the scheme of things, but still a key barrier in the early phase of offshore wind development. Insurance due to uncertainty and contingency spending costs on average $178 million. We are passionate about solving these problems that offshore wind faces through our clean tech technology. Last summer, we graduated from the National Science Foundation I-Corps program at the national level. And that's something I recommend for all startups here on the call. National Science Foundation gave us the right process that we're following to this day. Through that cohort, we interviewed over 100 key players within the offshore wind ecosystem and identified the key problems within offshore wind. This past fall, we graduated from the Cleantech Open, and now we are part of Blue Institute. We know we're in good hands with Judith Underwood. Next month, we will launch a fishery app where fisheries can engage with offshore wind developers on their activities and enable data sharing and make engagement between offshore wind developers and fisheries more dynamic. We're very excited about the year ahead. We think it will be a make year for us. And with that, I believe I have 30 seconds left, thanks to Alistair. I wish everybody here very well. I do have one small ask. If you know a fishery that is impacted by offshore wind, please reach out to me at mark.abdallah@ithacacleanenergy.com. We're interviewing fisheries, customizing our app towards their needs, and so they can engage with offshore wind developers and allow offshore wind developers to win those permits and take off here in the Northeast United States. Thank you.
Perfect timing. Thank you, Mark. And I'll turn it over to Beth Zonis from Cleantech Open.
Thank you very much, Alistair. As Director of Cleantech Open Northeast, I am focused on combating climate change through innovation and entrepreneurship, and that's what we all do. Cleantech Open is the world's oldest and largest cleantech accelerator and business plan competition. It started at MIT in 2005, and in the Northeast, we're run by NECEC, whose work on clean energy policy and market development lay a sort of green carpet for clean tech startups in the region. Next slide. Cleantech Open is a 6-month accelerator. It's like a mini MBA. Most of the startups in the accelerator are pre-revenue. Some have some funding, such as from friends and family or grants. Each team should have at least 2 people. We expect 40 to 50 startups this year in the Northeast and about 100 startups nationwide. We have a strong and dedicated mentor pool here, and we're able to match as many as 4 mentors to each startup. They guide the startups through the online curriculum. We run many events to help solidify the learning and to enable our startups to test their assumptions and to expand their professional networks. It's a rigorous program. The startups work hard on 10 modules and produce 8 deliverables that are essential to running their businesses. At the end of the accelerator, we host an investor connect and a showcase. This year, we are offering $50,000 in cash prizes and over $300,000 in goods and services, including a prize for a carbon sequestration solution. Next slide. We're proud of our statistics. 68% of our startups since 2005 are still in business, employing over 3,300 people. Our cohorts are increasingly diverse, with 63% of the startups last year having a woman founder or a person of color as a founder. Next slide.
Thanks, Beth.
I would be glad to speak with anyone, but I do want to emphasize that our applications are due April 18th. So please apply and come talk to me later.
Thanks a lot, Beth, and hand it over to Ben from Flux Marine.
All right, great. Very nice to see quite a few familiar faces here. But our company is Flux Marine. We went through the Cleantech Open in 2019, and we're here to tell our story and how the Cleantech Open helped us. We can go to the next slide. So Flux Marine is aimed at developing high-performance electric marine propulsion systems, outboards generally, ranging from 15 horsepower to about 150 horsepower. Our value proposition is unique in that we're the first company to really focus on building an outboard marine propulsion system from the ground up that is also scalable. Our technology is around increasing efficiency and eliminating traditional maintenance while, of course, maximizing performance. As far as our business model goes, we have a mixed B2C and B2B business model where we can sell motors directly to consumers We can sell them directly to retailers, and we're also partnering with home manufacturers to offer complete propulsion packages. As far as our stage, when we were a part of the Cleantech Open, we were very much pre-revenue, very much R&D, bootstrapping, doing everything we could as a hardware company. The Cleantech Open, throughout that whole process, got us to the point where we are now still pre-revenue. We've had a few early sales with beta customers, but we had a successful seed round, and we're really diving into R&D. As far as our most pressing next milestone, we're really focused on demonstrations with customers and potential partners, that as well as hiring. So if you know anyone or you might be interested in a role with Flux Marine, I do encourage you to reach out. And as far as looking for customers, we do have a new location set up in East Greenwich, Rhode Island right now, right on the water with a dock slip. So I do encourage people to reach out this summer if you want to try out the Flux Marine electric system. Next slide, please. As far as how we met the Cleantech Open, we were actually introduced through Thorne Sparkman and the Slater Technology Fund in Rhode Island. And what we really liked after talking to Beth and Trisha is the Cleantech Open was a longer accelerator program. So a lot of accelerator programs we find are very short. You don't really get to grow your business as a whole. It's just a group of short sprints, which can be helpful. But for us, we needed something longer and better tailored. So they had a fantastic community, a long program, and it was really tailored to multiple facets of growing a clean tech company. And specifically how they helped us, we had great exposure to investors. When Beth mentioned the investor day at the end of the incubator, a few of those people we met actually did end up writing us checks. We made some great relationships with partner companies and also met very strong mentors. Next slide, please. And for anyone considering Cleantech Open, don't hesitate to reach out, tell your story and your big picture vision. The Cleantech Open supports passionate entrepreneurs. So thank you for having me today and looking forward to everyone else's presentations.
Thank you, Ben. And I'm going to hand over straight away to Pauline Murphy from Connecticut Innovations.
Great. Connecticut Innovations is the venture arm for the state of Connecticut. And we are the leading source of financing for startups. Next slide, please. For startups. We invest through a number of different programs and we participate at different stages of a company's evolution. We have proof of concept and pre-seed funding, and we do early stage and late stage funding as well. We also have loan programs that help companies to finance facility build out and equipment. We also manage the Connecticut Angel Investor Tax Credit Program through Connecticut Innovations, but we are much more than just capital. We work very closely with our companies. We are involved in their boards and we assist them in finding other investors. We work hard to leverage our dollars. We also help them find talent and board members and to find partners for their network. Next slide, please. Our sister organization is CT Next. They promote all things entrepreneurship and innovation in Connecticut, and they help entrepreneurs take ideas to concept to product to becoming companies. They have a number of different programs, mentor programs, the Tech Talent Bridge program, which is an internship program subsidized. They do SBIR training, and they support and fund a number of incubators and innovation places throughout Connecticut. And they have a number of programs that they are continuing to evolve, and they work very hard in the community in Connecticut. I have the privilege to work with a very good portfolio company, Cadenza, and Alex is going to take it from here. Thank you.
Greetings. Greetings. Hi, hello. Can you see me here? Yes.
Yep.
So I'm Alex Bach. I'm with Cadenza, and Cadenza Innovation is a technology company based in Connecticut. We started in Massachusetts, and we're supported by Mass CEC. Moved to Connecticut for our founders found things they needed to do down there, and Connecticut Innovations has been an amazing partner for us. And I would say for those of you who are in Connecticut, you should be talking to Connecticut Innovations. For those of you who are figuring out where you're going to be, Connecticut is an amazing state. It's large enough that important things happen there. There's some amazing universities, some amazing businesses. The government is really helpful. But it also is a small enough place that one company can really make a difference and do things special there. Next slide, please. What we do is we've created a novel battery technology and been able to assemble it in ways that keep lithium-ion batteries safe. And lithium-ion batteries are at the center of so much of energy storage and clean tech, but the challenge is they get very hot. And what we've been able to do is to find a way to package them so that when one of the cells fails, which inevitably happens in lithium-ion batteries, whether it's 1 in a million or 1 in 10 million or 1 in 10,000, and when they get really hot, the ones next to them don't get hot. And what our basic value proposition is that we make a failure a service call instead of a fire or explosion event. And we're in a licensing business. We're doing some manufacturing for initial projects. And we've been working away on getting into the commercialization phase. We have a demonstration project happening at the New York Power Authority. We're working on establishing manufacturing sites. But the key thing throughout this, next slide, please, has been working with our friends at Connecticut Innovations. And back one, please. The thing that's most interesting about Connecticut Innovations is that we've been working with them from the beginning. And we were founded by a serial entrepreneur who moved to Connecticut, connected with them. They provided access to us for equipment loans, for equity investments, debt financing, workforce development, policy initiatives for the state, multiple programs about forgivable loans, both long-term and short-term. They've connected us to people. They've always been available, returned our phone calls. They're really a great organization, and hope folks will find a way. If you're going to be in Connecticut or you're thinking of where you could end up, Connecticut's a place to be. Connecticut Innovations is the place. Next slide. The last sort of piece here is, if you think about what advice you want to be a part of CI, is what it says here. Show you have great partners, show your timing right, and that you'll bring jobs to Connecticut. But if you are thinking about it, find a way to work with Connecticut Innovations.
That's great. Thanks, Alex. I'm going to cut you there and ask if Jeff Robertson from Delta Climb could step up.
Thanks, Alistair. Hi, I'm Jeff Robertson of Delta Climb, Vermont, a program of the Vermont Sustainable Jobs Fund based out of Montpelier, Vermont. The Delta Climb Vermont is driven by its sponsors largely. We have all the electricity utility distributors. We have the efficiency utility. We've got our transmission authority. We've got other energy companies involved that sponsor us financially, but also lend mentors to us throughout the program, which is a big piece, which I'll discuss in a minute. The program is driven again by these utilities. I go to them every year and say, okay, what problem do you all have that we can bring startups in from all over the country to attack around climate, around our climate-related goals in Vermont? And so, I get together with all these utilities, we come up with what's called a challenge statement. And then we do national recruitment. We bring in companies from all over the country oftentimes, and we run them through a structured curriculum developed by ECOS BC and facilitated by a professional facilitator named Joseph Steig, doing this forever. The program goes for about 16 weeks, and we run the companies through a business case, business model, go-to-market strategy, and financing strategy. We create a deep cohort connection amongst the group. The cohort companies work very, very closely together the entire time. We do breakout rooms with multiple companies. They go together to meet with mentors and take notes for each other and critique each other. And the point of that is, number one, to get the companies to really look at each other through the lens of a customer and through the lens of an investor. So this is a very, very focused on customer program, but we also bring in lots of industry mentors, investor mentors during COVID, and now it's virtual throughout the country. These mentors come from. The structure is basically 3-4 day sprints, a month apart, but 10 hours a week in between one-on-one calls with the facilitators and myself. Oftentimes, there's a $25,000 prize each time around, which is selected by the cohort. So that's another piece of it, is the cohort has to know each other well enough to be able to
Hey, Jeff.
who's done the
Can you-
best.
Yeah, can you wrap up so we can hear from?
Yeah, I'm all done, and you can see the dates and everything else, and I am all set. And I'm going to introduce Jordan Kearns of Medley Thermal, who was in our last cohort.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jeff. And
Sure.
welcome,
Thanks
Jordan.
a lot, Jeff. As Jeff mentioned, I'm Jordan, the founder and CEO of Medley Thermal. We develop projects that electrify steam, hot water, other thermal loads for large industrial facilities, campuses, really any large facility with a thermal load. Next slide, please. Just as a bit about us, our value proposition is using electricity at select times to electrify thermal loads and reduce energy costs and carbon emissions. We can offer this with no upfront cost to customers via a steam purchase agreement. In terms of stage, we're currently developing several megawatt scale projects, and our most pressing milestone is getting this first project up and running at J Peak Resort. And that really brings me back to Delta Climb VT. We connected with Jeff last year, and you can advance to the next slide, please. He actually came to Greentown Labs, the incubator in Somerville, Massachusetts, that we are a member of, gave a presentation for Delta Climb. We had a chat there and discussed Delta Climb's sort of value proposition to startups. And what really resonated with us was looking for demonstration partners to help pilot and demonstrate our technology sort of at full commercial scale. At the time, we were looking to connect with a few companies specifically in Vermont, especially some of the utilities there. And the list of industry partners that Jeff had was something that was attractive to us. Additionally, the fact that it's available at no cost to startups was something that we were very interested in. So we participated in the program. I believe we took the second place prize last summer, but really more important than that was we went into the project looking for a demonstration partner. We ended up with two. We were able to connect with Vermont Electric Co-op and J Peak Resort for one project that we're currently pursuing. And we were also able to connect with Burlington Electric Department, where we're also have an agreement with them to develop a slightly smaller scale pilot for their office building in Burlington, Vermont. So we were very excited about that. And I think that our experience was not atypical. And Jeff, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the majority of startups that participated in the program ended up with a pilot or demonstration commitment from a Vermont partner. Next slide, please. So to that point, if you are interested in as an energy company in doing business in Vermont, I would highly recommend you to connect with Jeff, talk with him before you apply for the program, see if there's a fit, know why your company is interested in the Vermont market. And if you go through the program, I'd say that there's a very high likelihood that you end up with a demonstration project or pilot partner on the other side. Can't recommend the program enough. I'd also like to say, though, just before I hand it back over, that we've been supported by a lot of the partners here at participating in this program tonight. I know I'm speaking particularly on behalf of Jeff and Delta Climb, but as I mentioned, we're a member of Greentown Labs, which actually facilitated the connection to Delta Climb. We've worked with Cleantech Open, and we've also been supported very generously by the Massachusetts Clean Energy Center. So I really can't emphasize enough that all of these organizations work together as an ecosystem and bring different things to the table to really help you get your business up and running in the New England area. So thanks again, and Jeff, feel free to step in if there's anything you needed to add there.
Time's up. Thanks very much, Jordan.
Oh,
appreciate it. Great story. And I'm going to ask to move on to Marty Groman from E2 Tech. Thank you.
Howdy, Marty Groman from E2 Tech up here in Bedford, Maine. That's the next town up from Kennebunkport. Come see us. Welcome to my basement. E2 Tech is a member association of about almost 300 companies interested in clean tech. And I myself ran a 3-time Inc. 500 listee before doing this. So I'm passionate about entrepreneurship. So all I really want you to remember is we have a lot of support organizations here, and we also have a lot of good customers here in Maine. Mainers are very loyal to their local companies. And go right ahead, Mary Elizabeth. I'll just close out by highlighting one entity here that you see in the upper right, which is the Maine Technology Institute. Tons of support there, nothing like MTI in other states. This group will fund you from $25,000 for a market study to a recent investment in a and a vaccine company in the multiple millions. So plenty of support there. And my pleasure now to introduce E2 Tech member Baseline ES and Laura Carpenter.
Thanks, Marty. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Laura Carpenter. I'm the Business Development Manager at Baseline ES. And yes, I have been an individual member of E2 Tech for several years now, so I'm pleased to be here with Marty today. Baseline ES is a Maine-based engineering services company specializing in commercial HVAC and refrigeration systems. As you can see, we've served some great companies, though they all happen to be from outside of the state. We provide design, commissioning, and energy efficiency services, as well as investigate and troubleshoot mechanical issues with HVAC and refrigeration systems when they occur. If you could skip forward a couple of slides, please. You have my long deck. Next one, there we go. Nope, back one. Go back one slide. Thank you. So our experience with reactively troubleshooting equipment failures led us to the idea for a new predictive solution that we're developing, calling ChillCheck, which collects and analyzes performance data from our customers' building control systems on an ongoing basis, and then allows us to identify and head off growing refrigeration and HVAC issues before they become urgent. So fortunately, not too long after we began developing this new service, I learned about the CTO program through an E2 Tech webinar. And my colleagues and I thought that it sounded like a great opportunity to learn and go through sort of a business boot camp and to help us drive our product development forward. And so fortunately, we were accepted, and we also were grateful to receive financial support from E2 Tech and MTI, which Marty just mentioned, in order to be able to participate. Next slide, please. So the training curriculum we accessed through the CTO program was absolutely phenomenal, and it really helped us to critique and refine our ChillCheck concept. But very importantly, we were pushed to think about and quantify the potential impact of our product, which you're seeing here. And I think this was really a key exercise that helped us to examine our value proposition as we were developing this product and really judge whether we were moving in the right direction. Next slide, please. We also had great mentors through the program to turn to for feedback and expertise, including one nearby here in South Portland, Maine. And through the CTO networking events, we were able to connect with a few companies that share our facilities efficiency focus. But what I really appreciate is that the support from these organizations did not end when we completed the program. So post-program, thanks to Marty and E2 Tech, we were able to meet with the Governor's Energy Office and share our experience. They've also provided some additional connections for us here in Maine. And I know that Beth and her team are always eager to make connections as well at CTO. Next slide. Okay, so I just want to say that, we really have appreciated this experience, and that we feel that going through the CTO program and working with E2 Tech has helped to improve our understanding of our value proposition as a company. And I would very much recommend any organization to participate in these programs or to join the E2 Tech network. And please feel free to reach out to me during any of the breakout sessions.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Marty from Maine. And we're going to move on now to Greentown Labs and ask Cayman Somerville to step up.
Awesome. Welcome, everybody. My name is Cayman Somerville. I'm the Chief of Staff for Greentown Labs. We are the largest climate tech incubator in North America, and we're based in Somerville, Massachusetts, with a second location soon to be set up in Houston, Texas, scheduled to open later this spring. Next slide, please. Greentown Labs is a community of entrepreneurs committed to solving the world's largest environmental and climate challenges, and our mission is to provide these entrepreneurs with the community, resources, and connections that they need to thrive. Next slide. Since opening our doors in 2011, we have supported over 300 clean tech and climate tech startups that have collectively raised about $1.2 billion and created more than 6,500 jobs. Today, we have about 130 startup members in both Boston and Houston. A few of them are here tonight representing other organizations, and you'll get to hear from John Garrity of TagUp in just a moment. So next slide, I just want to take a moment to highlight the startup journey as it gives insights on the value provided in this really incredible ecosystem. While we recognize that this is not always the case, many startups get their start at the university or in a pitch competition and then go on to participate in an accelerator program like Cleantech Open or Mass Challenge before being ready for incubation at a place like Greentown Labs. So at Greentown, we help our startups get their climate solutions to scale through manufacturing, piloting, prototyping, et cetera. Next slide. We provide a wealth of resources for startups, from hardware capabilities to a wet lab to investor connections and manufacturing connections. We also have a proven track record of generating partnership outcomes for both of our members and partners, which really helps our startups go further faster. And then just the last slide, want to share that we are part of an incredible ecosystem that provides really strong support for our startups. And we know that the Mass CECs and the NECECs of the world are just as important as incubators and government support when it comes to catalyzing clean tech innovation and climate action. So if you're interested in learning more, my colleague Sam Crum, who's our membership growth coordinator, is going to be here in the breakout room. So I invite you to reach out to him. Thanks.
Thanks, Cayman, and I'll ask John Garrity to step up from Tag Up.
Great, thanks, Alistair. Afternoon, everyone. I'm John Garrity, co-founder and CEO of Tag Up. Very happy to be here, and thank you, Cayman, and Alistair, for including me. Our company has been with Greentown since the beginning, and I'm very happy to say, it's been a very productive partnership. Next slide, please. When we started several years ago now, we were just my co-founder and myself at Greentown. We went through their initial incubation program, their inaugural program, and we've really grown over the years from 2 with my co-founder. Now we're a team of 20 data scientists, software engineers. We use artificial intelligence methods to make equipment that powers the world safer, more reliable, and more efficient. And we basically do that by predicting equipment failures, optimizing control strategies around asset management, primarily with power generation and transmission distribution throughout the energy supply chain. We deliver this as software as a service. Next slides, please. What I really want to talk about though is Greentown, because truly, if you're in the New England, if you're in New England and you're a clean tech startup, I think there's no better physical location to start the company. Greentown's been terrific to us, and we've loved being part of the community. It has a wonderful network. There are a couple other startups, as Cayman mentioned here, who are Greentown members, all mission driven to address climate change. We are, I think, very supportive. You get good support at an early stage from later stage companies, and there's a tremendous talent pool as well that you can tap into. Greentown even helped us get some of our first customers and partners, including amongst them Veolia and EDF Renewables. So really been productive collaborations, all driven through the relationship with Greentown. And additionally, Greentown's been growing quite dramatically. When we started, I think there were 28 startups or something in the ecosystem now. As Cayman mentioned, supported several hundred, and I think over 100 current members, which is really terrific. So long story short, message from me: if you're in New England and a clean tech startup, I highly encourage you to check out Greentown, meet with Sam in the breakout sessions, or reach out to Cayman or myself directly. And thanks very much.
That's great, John. Thank you very much. I'm going to call on Brent from Lever.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Brent Philson. I'm the head of innovation at Lever. I run also the Sustainability Challenge. Lever is a nonprofit incubator located in North Adams, Massachusetts, and we're focused on regional economic development. Next slide. So our operating thesis is that by supporting high growth startups in our region, we can create more quality jobs and move the needle, the economic needle faster in our region. We do this by selecting or investing in select startups through our seed fund. We also organize a regional angel network, and we run startup challenge programs throughout the year. In 2020, the startups that participated in our challenge programs raised over $7.5 million, which is pretty good for Western Mass startups. Next slide. Our challenge programs are broken down into 3 phases over 9 months. We select a cohort, generally speaking, of 4 to 6 finalists to participate in the challenge. Startups will attend workshops, receive direct mentorship in preparation for final pitch competition, and then the winner is awarded a $25,000 non-dilutive grant and is also incubated at Lever for 4 months. Next slide. But the challenge I'd like to highlight today is the Berkshire Sustainability Challenge. Last year's challenge was supported by Mass Clean Energy Center. I just want to throw a shout out to them. You cannot say enough about how much of a pleasure it is to work with Leslie Nash and her team. They really are truly great partners. So this challenge is, the goal for this challenge is to activate, focus, and support entrepreneurs to develop innovations in the clean energy space that will create jobs for our region. Startups do not have to reside in Western Massachusetts, but they do have to leverage an asset within Massachusetts. Finalists will also get the chance to win $25,000 and get access to the focus curriculum, the one-on-one mentorship, and access to our network of investors and key partners and manufacturers. Applications are due August 27th, and I'd like to pass it over to Jesse Silverberg, who's the co-founder of Multiscale Systems and the winner of last year's challenge.
Thank you, Brent.
Thanks, Brent. Hello, my name is Jesse. I'm a physicist by training. In 2018, I jumped out of academia to focus full-time on commercializing technology that I helped develop during my PhD and postdoc. Today, I'm here presenting on behalf of the Multiscale Systems team with the support of Lever. Next slide, please. So at Multiscale Systems, we make advanced materials without chemistry. Essentially, we design geometric patterns that we embed into materials, and we engineer that geometry to enhance the material properties. Our value proposition here is that our materials end up being ideal for clean transportation. In other words, we have lighter materials that do not sacrifice strength. That's really helpful because what it means is that a lighter vehicle made with our materials can be more fuel efficient, emit less greenhouse gases, or it can go further on a single electric charge. Moreover, if you are in commercial transportation, a lighter vehicle means more profits. And so there's a good end user driven pull for technology like ours. Our business model is focused on volume-based manufacturing and sales. Manufacturing in the region means jobs in the region. I think that is an important element of what it is that we're doing. We are fortunate to have been funded by grants. SBIRs have been the bulk of our initial funding. And while good, SBIRs aren't perfect. I think that's a good lesson that we've learned, that Lever has been really helpful for us. So as we move forward, our next demonstration, our next milestone project, which you'll be hearing about in the not too distant future, I hope, will be focused on doing our first scaled manufacturing and demonstration run. Next slide, please. So just to really emphasize this about Lever, we met them through the Berkshire Sustainability Challenge that Brent mentioned. We really were excited to work with them because that really bespoke mentorship and that sort of hands-on prep that we got from investing is unique. As I think others have pointed out, the journey of startups is unique. Everyone goes through their own different pathways, and having close mentorship, deep networking, and these small cohorts really benefited us as we got both the equity free funding through the Lever Challenge, as well as access to seed funds and angel investors. Last slide, please. So with that, I really just want to spotlight the team. This is really a group effort, not just here at Multiscale Systems and Lever, but everyone in this community. We're all in this together. And I'll say that the one piece of advice I would like to leave with everyone is that it never hurts to ask for help. And that is by far the single most powerful thing that I have learned in the last 2 years, is that it's okay not to know, just ask. Thank you.
Thank you, Jesse. That was great. I'd like to hand over now to Kerry Bowie from Majira.
All right. Thank you, Alistair. So Majira is Swahili for summer. So in a nod to the growing season, we try to help startups and small companies to grow, similar to sunlight and water and soil. We see this as consulting, coaching, connections, and providing access to capital. Our focus is on founders of color, and we go across different stages. So small businesses, startups, as well as in this past cohort, some medium enterprises. Really, if you go back to sort of Bhagavi's keynote, really a focus on diversity. Our cohort now, I guess our alumni, 56 to date, 95% led by founders of color, 63% led by women, and 61% women of color. So that's really our focus. Our partner on the consulting side is the Boston Consulting Group. They do 12 to 16 week pro bono engagements or work on projects in the sales and marketing, strategy and operations area. And then we match with coaches, make connections to people in different areas, as well as funding. So it's a win-win-win for everybody, for the cohort companies, for the volunteers, and for the community, because we're really trying to look at creating jobs and closing the wealth gap in our community. It's really huge, especially even if we talk about Boston, where we're based. So with that, I'm gonna hand over one of those companies. We're national, so we see companies all across the nation, Block Power in New York, Ag Tools in California, Caverdi, Varuna, Murata Robotics, so those all across the country. But I'm going to turn over to Paris from Eden Geotech. We know him through NSF I-Corps, where I was a part of the teaching team when he went through, and I also know Paris through Browning the Green Space, a nonprofit we started, and he does a lot of work at Greentown Labs there. So Paris.
Yeah, thank you, Kerry. Hello, everybody. My name is Paris Smalls. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Eden Geotech. We're also a Greentown Labs company. And at Greentown, as Kerry's mentioned, I got involved with a lot of DEI initiatives, including being one of the founding members of the Greentown Labs DEI committee. I'm currently actually still finishing up my PhD. I have about 12 months left. And a couple of years ago, actually right in the middle of it, got super inspired to get involved with entrepreneurship and make what I believe to be my potential impact on trying to mitigate the upcoming climate crisis. Next slide, please. So what we're developing at Eden is a technology to use high voltage electricity to weaken rock before you do one of your more traditional hydraulic fracturing operations. And the reason why we're doing this is because most of the water that gets consumed with hydraulic fracturing is being utilized to reach the breakdown pressure to actually propagate that fracture. So if you can weaken the rock before you do hydraulic fracturing, you can actually decrease drastically the overall water consumption, which will have consequences for also decreasing induced seismicity. Our business model is to work with petroleum and geothermal companies. Before, I believe, like middle of next year, we were more involved with trying to figure out how we can go to market in the petroleum space, but we've been getting super involved with the geothermal space recently. And later this year, we're looking at doing our first pilot, so we're very excited about that. Next slide, please. So as Kerry mentioned, we met, I think this might have been 2.5 years ago when Eden was going through the NSF National I-Corps program with the Boston node. Also got involved with Browning the Green Space with Kerry and now the Mahira project. So one of the reasons why we decided to join the Mahira project was to work closely with the existing relationships with the Boston Consulting Group, where we get pro bono advice and consulting and top tier consultants there. So that's really nice. The main things that helped us with thus far have been reviewing our pitch deck, preparing for fundraising, and also we use a couple hours of consulting work with them to do some market analysis for a grant that we need to put together for a commercialization plan. Next slide, please. And any advice I would give to a person that's looking to apply to the Mahira project and actually make the most out of their time would be to make sure that in your application, when they ask you, like, what would you do with the Boston Consulting Group, you have very clear and concrete ideas about things that you need assistance with that can actually lead to deliverables and things that people can act upon. And with that, thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Paris. Very inspiring. And with that, I'm going to hand over to Priya from Mass Ventures. You there, Priya?
Sorry. Hi, Alistair. So Mass Ventures is the Commonwealth Strategic Venture Capital team. We fund and foster early stage deep tech, which includes any companies with significant scientific and engineering advancements to fuel economic growth across the Commonwealth. We have been very successful at this for 43 years, and our goal is business development and job creation. Next slide, please. In terms of what we deliver, we have two programs, Mass Ventures Capital and Accelerate, and I'll just touch on a few programming that we offer. From a venture investment standpoint, we provide seed investment and support for Massachusetts-based deep tech startups, where we often take a board seat. We provide RLF loans, which is revenue-based financing loans to early-stage technology companies based in Massachusetts. From a non-dilutive granting perspective, we provide the START or SBIR Targeted Technologies program, which is open now through Feb 28th for stage 1. And if you have a SBIR or STTR phase 2 funding, then you are eligible to apply. And if you are successful through all the 3 stages of this program, you could get up to $800,000 in non-dilutive funding. We also partner with Mass CEC to administer the Catalyst program, where we provide up to $65,000 grants to early stage companies and researchers every year. From an Accelerate standpoint, we help your companies grow. So we provide advice, expertise, and services, some of which include Mass VX, where we provide curated talent matching with vetted entrepreneurial champions who could be CEOs, board advisors, etc., filling a critical gap for you, or free and discounted services to venture and grant companies with the help of our business service providers and organizations. So these are just a few of the programs we provide. Do reach out and ask if you have any more questions. And I'll just flash the successes slide, which I think is 2 slides down, where you can see just by the numbers, whether from a funding standpoint or collision standpoint, we have been very successful in 2020, and as in past years, and hope to be the same in the future. Now I'll turn it over to our partner, Transera. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Priya.
Thank you, Priya. My name is Ross Bonner, and I'm here representing Transera. We are here with Mass Ventures, and we like to start out with this this quote: "The race is on to build an air conditioner that doesn't cook the planet." So we'll talk about what that means. Next slide. So the buzzword that I really want to leave with you, and I hope everybody here, this is a climate forum, so we're all familiar with global warming. I want to talk about the global cooling crisis. And what I mean by that, it's not that we believe that the Earth is cooling down or anything. We're talking about air conditioning, and there is an unprecedented radical growth in air conditioning demand in developing climates like India and Southeast Asia. And that is putting a huge strain on the energy grids in those countries and making it really, really difficult, nigh impossible to hit the climate goals that we need to hit. So Transera is trying to help solve that problem by creating a new class of affordable and efficient air conditioners. We are specifically targeting hot and humid climates, like those tropical climates where the demand is growing fastest. And our goal is to consume 50% less energy than an incumbent system. We are a seed stage company, and our next milestone is field trials with customers here in Massachusetts. Next slide. So we're really excited to be here with Mass Ventures. We met them through the Catalyst grant program a couple of years ago, and they've been a fantastic supporter. not only for providing funding, but also getting us connected with other partners and collaborators. And we're actually right now in talks with them for the next stage of funding. So fingers crossed for you. And I'll go to the next slide. I just want to say the Massachusetts clean tech community has been absolutely fantastic. We're well represented in this cohort today, not only Mass Ventures, but also Mass CEC. Transera is also a Greentown company, which Greentown is well represented here too. So it's great working with this motivated group of individuals, which has been fantastic, just a great experience. So thank you, and I look forward to meeting you all in the breakout rooms later.
Thank you, Ross. And that's a good segue to ask Leslie Nash from Mass CC to step up.
Great, thanks, Alistair. Hi, everyone. My name is Leslie Nash. I'm a senior program manager at the Massachusetts Clean Energy Center. Next slide, please. Mass CEC is a quasi-government agency whose mission it is to accelerate the clean energy and climate solution innovations that are critical to meeting the Commonwealth's climate goals. We primarily act as a convener and a grant maker. Next slide, please. This slide is just a sampling of our partners that contribute to the state's robust innovation economy, many of which you've already heard from and will hear from today, or at least meet during the event today, including our presenting partner highlighted in the red circle at the bottom there, SolarBlock, who you'll hear from in a little bit. Next slide, please. This slide has a lot of information. I'll go over it pretty quickly. Feel free to ask me questions in the breakout room later. This shows our grant and investment programs that are for early stage startups and researchers. We offer a suite of programs depicted here that are meant to fill funding gaps for technology development in the clean tech space. All the programs on this slide require the startup to be based in Massachusetts, except for Innovate Mass. And all of these programs that you see here are currently open and accepting proposals right now. Catalyst is the bottom left there. It is for early stage technology readiness levels, or TRLs, 2 to 4. It offers grants of up to $65K for prototypes. Amplify Mass, the big giant box in the background there, is a cost share program for TRLs 2 to 8, offers grants up to $300K. Innovate Mass on the right there is a demonstration program and offers grants of up to $250K, and you'll hear from SolarBlock in a moment about that. The blue boxes are both investment programs. We have a seed investment program as well as an equity investment program. The equity investment is for later stage, clearly, as depicted on the slide. And last but not least is the big dark green box across the bottom, the whole x-axis there. That is our internship program, where we will fund basically reimburse employers for interns that work at their company for 12 weeks. And the program operates on a first come, first served basis. And it's also open now. Thank you. And with that, I will turn it over to Scott Longley with SolarBlock to talk a little bit more about his company in Mass CEC. Thank you.
All right, great. Can everybody see me okay? All right. Yep. Oh, I can see bad hair day. Sorry about that. So I just wanted to get started. Thank you, everybody, for the opportunity to talk today. I'm honored to be able to speak on behalf of SolarBlock, and also to tell you about the great relationship that we have with Mass CEC. Next slide, please. So I'm not going to take very much time with this. Our company, essentially, we provide vertical solar solutions built using our solar masonry unit. It's essentially a masonry clad solar module. So it's a net zero building block. So if you want to know more, just please see me either after the presentation or in the breakout room. But I really want to focus more about our relationship with Mass CEC and what an amazing impact they've had on us as a company as a whole. Next slide, please. So we had an interesting story how we first met. Now, again, we're a building block company. We had our perfect meeting, our ideal customer, a superintendent of a school. They had the architect. We were there, we were talking to them, and they said, you know what? You need a certain type of certification. And actually, it was a surprise to us because the product was ready. We didn't know we needed the certification, and we were all set to go. And then we realized that actually not only was a certification necessary to go to market, but it cost a lot of money. And as a startup, you kind of wonder, who the heck am I going to talk to about that? Well, actually, this customer then said to us, you got to call Mass CEC. And so we reached out, and Mass CEC really stepped up and gave us help on multiple levels. So they were able to provide us with the funding that we needed in order to achieve that goal of getting that certification, but they also provided us with the structure. They focused us on establishing a very detailed project plan on what we needed to get that. And then they held us accountable and made us meet certain milestone goals in order to be able to get that funding that we needed. And so that was critical for us. So they've helped us again, funding, guidance, and accountability. And that was just the certain areas there where they were really able to help us. Next slide, please. So what was the impact of this? This actually had a tremendous impact. Mass CEC, once they saw that we were able to prove our product was realistic, could have a big impact, you know, they realized that not only did we were able to dream big, but what we had was actually could be a reality. So they actually made critical introductions to us. And so we met with CEMEX Ventures after being introduced by Mass CEC. They encouraged us to do the American-made Solar Prize, which we were selected as a semifinalist. So all in all, I can't say enough good things about Mass CEC. They made a true difference in our company, and we are deeply indebted to them for the support, both spiritually, mentally, physically, and financially. So we're big fans. Thank you.
It's great, Scott. Thank you very much. And with that, we've come to the end of the first round of presentations. Thank you all for being good on time. We did, however, run a little bit over. So we're going to keep the breakout session to 10 minutes so we can keep on track. So you should see at the bottom of your screen on the menu bar, breakout rooms, and you should see a list of breakouts. Are we ready, Debbie, for that?
Yes, and I just opened them up.
Okay, fantastic. So look at the breakout rooms, choose, if you scroll down, you'll see a list of breakout rooms at the bottom, and choose the partner that you want to go talk to. Hover on the right where you see the numbers, press join, and have fun with the conversations. And if you find your room busy, move around, go to another one. So breakout starting now. Please join a room and join in the conversation. You'll be able to meet partners and startups that they had speaking with them. If you need help, please reach out, ask a question to Debbie or Mary Elizabeth or myself.
They're still trying to join right now.
Yep. Okay, I'm being told we have time for 15-minute breakouts, so we'll keep it to 15 minutes.
Oh, I just set it for 10 minutes, Alistair.
Okay, don't worry, too late.
Okay.
I didn't.
Yeah, you have to do it before.
Yep, no problem.
If anyone needs help going into a breakout room, please speak up. I see that there's still a few.
Yeah, it's a Tom Blum. It started, I saw the breakout rooms, and then I tried to click on one, and now all I see is a white screen. I didn't.
Which breakout room would you like to get into?
I was going to go to the breakthrough energy room.
Unfortunately, I don't even see the breakout rooms on my Zoom.
I
don't have a, maybe it's the fact that I'm using my Works Zoom account here, so.
I don't have it either.
Hold on, Tom, I'm sorry, you wanted to go into what room?
Breakthrough energy.
I'd also like to say, if anyone is interested, we can put you into the blue incubator breakout room. There's no one in there, which would be a great opportunity.
I'll join that one. I also have old Zoom software, so I can't join myself. This is Mark Abdallah. If you could place me, that'd be appreciated.
Okay, Mark, I'll put you in there right now. You should get a
What rooms are
notification on
there?
your
The
screen.
white screen, it's not super intuitive, but you have to hover over the number on the right-hand side.
Okay, that's good to know.
Hi, this is Mamta. When I click on breakout room, I see a white screen, so I'm not sure what's happening.
Which breakout room would you like to go to?
I didn't see the list, so would be on something that is 0. So at least you were mentioning there was no
Okay,
participant,
we can put you in Blue Incubators breakout room.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Hi, can you put me in the blue incubator room as well?
Yes, John.
Who is this?
It was
That was
John, thank you.
John Hammond.
This is Ryan Dunphy. Do you think you could put me in the breakthrough room?
Yes, I can do that right now.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Sam Crum with Greentown Labs. It seems I'm supposed to be in my own breakout room, and I'm not finding how I can access that, so would appreciate some help.
I'll do it right now for you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You should have got something on your screen to join. Oh, there he goes.
Hi, I'm trying to get into the Delta Climb Vermont room, but I don't have a join button.
Okay. Is
Oh,
this?
wait, I found it. Never mind.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Would you please also send me room 1?
Room 1. Okay. Just sent you in.
Alistair, aside from the large number of people in the Breakthrough Energy Ventures room. The rest of the rooms are pretty evenly distributed, so I don't think we need to move anyone. Oh, looks like Alistair just jumped in there. But Deb, I don't think we need to move anyone. And if anyone currently in this main room needs to be placed in a breakout room because your Zoom doesn't have the capability, please let us know and we can move you.
We only have 1 minute and 30 seconds left for the breakout rooms.
Okay.
Okay, their breakout rooms are closing in about 50 seconds.
Okay, thanks, Deb. I'm here, ready.
You're welcome.
We're back.
I would like to ask everyone coming back into the main room to just make sure they mute themselves and turn off their video so we can return to the presentation part of the event. Thank you.
Great. I hope you all had fun in the breakout. Sounds like there were some good conversations. I would like to start up this next set of presentations and keep the momentum going by asking Madison Soward from Mass Challenge to take the mic and start up. So can you be ready with the next slide, Mary Elizabeth?
Awesome. Well, thank you all. I am Madison Sowards with Mass Challenge Boston. Founded in 2009, Mass Challenge's mission is to equip bold entrepreneurs to disrupt the status quo and create meaningful change. Through our nonprofit zero equity accelerator model, we support more than 400 startups a year from all industries and anywhere in the world. We run 9 annual programs across 7 locations, each are tailored to meet the needs of early stage startups. To date, Mass Challenge has helped more than 2,400 startups who have created more than 150,000 jobs, raised more than $6 billion in funding, and generated over $3 billion in revenue. Next slide. Awesome. So We run 4 US-based early stage programs in Boston, Rhode Island, Austin, and Houston. These programs are designed to help entrepreneurs identify goals and key initiatives to improve their business, provide access to a meaningful network of experts, and connect entrepreneurs with a deep peer network of MC alumni and community partners. Our early stage programs are open to all founders building businesses in all industries from all corners of the world. The only requirement is having less than 1 million in equity-based investment and less than 2 million in revenue. Our Accelerator program is a 4-month program that runs from June to October, and startups in the program receive access to live seminars, workshops, curriculum, specialized industry tracks, corporate partner network, in-kind deals, resources, and when we can be in person, we do offer office space. At the end of the 4-month program, startups compete for equity-free cash prizes that we present at our annual awards ceremony. I think I'm running out of time, so our 2021 early stage program applications launched last week. If you're interested in learning more or applying to our 2021 industry agnostic early stage programs, you can visit masschallenge.org/apply and use code MC21 for 100% off your application fee. And I'll put that in the chat, and I'll hand it over to Maddie, who will talk about her experience with Mass Challenge through Mount.
Awesome, thanks, Madison. Yeah, so I went through the Mass Challenge program specifically in Rhode Island this past fall. So in the heat of COVID, everything was virtual. So it was cool. I got to experience the program with everyone else from Boston and Texas. Next slide, please. But to just quickly touch on this, I mean, I don't have to go into much detail. I'd rather talk about Mass Challenge and how they helped us. But we're in the micromobility industry, launching smart locks and scooters at Airbnb properties, really just trying to get people out of cars and onto lightweight electric vehicles. And so next slide, please. The way I actually got introduced to Mass Challenge, I was an intern there 3.5, 4 years ago. I got to intern at the Boston office and really just got to understand firsthand how Mass Challenge really helps their startups and cares so deeply about the mission and really just wanting them to succeed. Mass Challenge doesn't take equity, which is rare to find in a startup accelerator, yet they're helping startups find product market fit, find investment, connecting you to mentors, and really just being this startup accelerator that everyone really can benefit from, especially at a young age of your startup. So I think they specifically helped me with defining product market fit. They helped me get my first pilots off the ground. And now we actually are live and generating revenue. So definitely owe a lot to Mass Challenge, and happy to talk further in the breakout rooms. But yeah, that's the program.
That's great. Thank you, Maddie. Appreciate it. Great story. I'm going to hand it over now to Amy Goggins from MIT Enterprise Forum.
Hello, everybody. The MIT Enterprise Forum is a global organization that's been around since the 70s. So we're kind of one of the longest running entrepreneurship organizations in this network. We really serve the very early stage entrepreneur. So if you're at concept level or very early stage, not quite ready to apply to an accelerator like Mass Challenge, then you should come to us. We serve all technologies, including clean tech, and we offer practical programs for any founder anywhere. So with not having in-person events, we have the boundaries have kind of come down, and we have people attending our events from all over the world. Next slide. Some of our upcoming programs. The Launch Clinic is one of our programs that we've done since we started in the 70s. It's 2 or 3 startups pitching their full investor pitch with experts in the audience giving them feedback. So you get to be a board of directors for an evening. It's really fun and interactive. We do them along all sorts of different technology themes. We do have a mentor program that runs twice a year. We have a spring and a fall cohort. The spring application opens up in March, and each entrepreneur is usually matched with 2 or 3 mentors. So you have a team, and that relationship goes for a year. The Beantown Throwdown is an event that we are now doing virtually in the fall and the spring, and that's our college teams pitch competition. Really fun to see some of these students coming out of Now we're currently only doing Boston, Massachusetts local area schools, but we're thinking of expanding it with all of our other chapters to across the world. The Start Smart seminar is a class that we offer 3 times a year. It walks you through this, it's like a mini MBA, it walks you through the stages of launching your startup. A lot of people haven't given up their day job yet and are just noodling with ideas. And it's a really wonderful program. And then the Startup Spotlight is, again, used to be at District Hall in the Boston Seaport with 40 different startups exhibiting, but now we're doing it 5 Fridays, April through May. And I encourage all of you startups out there to go to our website and apply to demo, because that's another really fun event. And that's it.
Thank you very much, Amy.
Yep.
And I'm going to ask to hand over to Katerina from our Navigate program.
Thank you very much, Alistair. My name is Catarina Madeira, and I'm part of the Northeast Clean Energy Council, where I'm running the program Navigate. Mary Elizabeth, could you please advance the slide? Thank you. So Navigate supports clean tech startups, typically ranging from commercial pilot to first customers. And these startups are all affiliated to the Navigate partners that in most part of the cases are startup incubators, accelerators, associations that might be located across North America. And the program supports the entrepreneurs by connecting them with investors, corporate strategics, utilities, cities, and other kinds of partners. These connections can take place or take place throughout the year, mostly at events. One is the Investor Corporate Customer Connect event. We usually host 2 editions a year. And this one is mostly based on one-on-one meetings that are pre-scheduled based on participants' investment and partnership priorities. The other one are pitching sessions that we've been hosting or co-organizing, in fact, with some of our partners. And these 2 events are invite only, so they're open only to the portfolio companies of our partners, many of them pitching today. And then there's as well a webinar series, and this event is open to the ecosystem. So this is the learning opportunity the program offers to the ecosystem and is about investor and corporate partner readiness. And this is Navigate in a nutshell. If you'd like to learn more about it, please join me in the breakout. Thank you.
Wow, that was quick, Katerina. Thank you. I'm going to ask Tom Kinnaman to step up for North Shore Adventures next.
Okay, can you hear me? There we go. So North Shore Adventures is a not-for-profit business incubator just a bit north of Boston in the Beverly area. And we are logo, which we just said on the last slide, is a sail. Why do we use a sail? Basically, our goal is to put the wind in your sails and get you to move forward, innovate faster, and fly higher. So why do you go to incubate? Next slide, please. So the incubators provide physical infrastructure. We have amazing labs. We've got a couple $1 million worth of equipment, including everything from mass spectrometers to chemical fume hoods, et cetera. Both biotech and clean tech can find a good home here. You're going to be surrounded by other technologies and entrepreneurs that you can collaborate with. We have sponsored services, people who provide free or reduced fee services. Most important thing we do is connect you up with advisors who have the expertise in the key areas that you might be weak in. Our goal really is to help you build out your company and get it to the point where you can go off on your own. Next slide, please. A lot of people are talking about the entrepreneurial journey. A lot of people who, when they start out, a lot of you entrepreneurs are thinking, hey, you get your money, you build it, and then you're an overnight success. We've seen it's more like you have a lot of questions, you work really hard, you get set back, you need lots of help. And that's what we really try and do is surround you with a community, and a lot of people talked about that. So we've had people who've been an overnight success after 6 or 7 years here. Our success rates have been very good, though. We've worked with something like 65 companies. 80% of them are still alive today. Next slide. So if you're interested in getting some help along the way, certainly you can plug into a variety of the entrepreneurial support organizations that we're talking about today, but we would like to talk to you about how we can help you plot your voyage of discovery, help you put your crew together so that you can stay on track. So that's Nordstrom Adventures, and I'd like to introduce you to Megan O'Connor of Ncycle, who's one of our members here.
Hi, everyone. My name is Megan O'Connor. As Tom mentioned, I'm the CEO and co-founder of Ncycle. Ncycle is a metal processing company on a mission to enable a low-impact, streamlined supply of critical minerals for the energy transition. Next slide, please. So Ncycle is commercializing, again, a metal processing technology, combining two age-old industrial processes, both called electrowinning and traditional membrane water filtration. By combining these two, we can get significant cost savings and greenhouse gas savings compared to traditional refining technologies used today. Our two industries that we're focused on are the lithium-ion battery recycling market, as well as upgrading low-grade ore found in the cobalt, nickel, and copper mines across North America. By combining these two traditional technologies, we can have a very small footprint device. So our device is less than 900 square feet, which enables us to use a very different business model, a tolling model, compared to what industry uses today. This enables us to have on-site processing. So we call it a plug and play technology, where we can actually drop our site in on site and upgrade these materials for any partner we can find within these two industries I mentioned before. We're currently at the seed stage, and our most pressing milestone coming up is scaling our tech for our first customer pilot in Q1 of 2022. Next slide. Why we chose NSIV. So we actually met NSIV through our investors, Clean Energy Venture Group out of Boston. And why we chose them, it's a very affordable lab space. So we're new to the Boston area. We looked at a variety of different lab spaces, and we just fell in love with the resources at NSIV. I think it's a great location up on the North Shore. It's very close and an easy drive to downtown Boston. And even on the first day that we met Tom and the team, they were all very supportive and very nice. And so it's a great collaborative environment to be in, to be a part of. How they help us the most is really with the mentoring and the networking that Tom mentioned before. They provide great access to world-class mentors that can help you in any area that you need help with. And again, I can't talk enough about the office and the lab space at the very affordable rents compared to the rest of the region. Next slide. So my advice to all of the entrepreneurs out there is get in touch with NSIV, and they'll walk you through every part of the process of applying to help you figure out if it's a good fit for the stage of your company. And if you'd like to learn more, please reach out to us in the breakout rooms. Thank you.
That was great, Megan. Thank you very much. Next up is Taylor Whitkin from See Ahead.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Taylor Whitkin. I'm the program manager at See Ahead. We're a blue tech startup platform located at the Cambridge Innovation Center, both in Boston and Providence, Rhode Island. Our open innovation platform supports startups seeking a community that has a positive, sustainable impact on the ocean. We help startups by matching them with mentors, finding resources like grants, talent, and testing facilities, and connecting them with our institutional and corporate partners. Two new partners that we're really excited about are Woods Hole Oceanographic Institute and Ørsted, which add some depth to our community in terms of coastal and marine testing facilities, and also in the offshore wind sector. See Ahead's current programs include the Blue Swell Incubator, which has a 20-week curriculum that gets companies on the path toward commercialization, and also comes with a $35K non-dilutive grant. We also facilitate ocean-centric investments through the Blue Angels Investment Group and run competitions like the Blue Green Innovation Challenge, which is going on down in Rhode Island. Next slide, please. So our members operate across a wide range of ocean verticals while we work to break down historical silos. So this includes robotics and AUVs, green shipping, and maritime logistics, with startups building both hardware and software. We've got companies innovating in fisheries and aquaculture, offshore renewable energy, working to reduce marine pollution and building resilient waterfronts, and others with enabling technologies like blockchain and sensors. So there's a lot that fits into our blue tech mandate, and also a lot of overlap overlap with the clean tech sector. We find that there are many technologies that start out on land and can be adapted to or are really already a good fit for the ocean. So if you want to learn more about the blue tech ecosystem and how you might fit into it, please get in touch and come talk to me during the breakout rooms. But I'll leave it there and pass it over to Dan Cohen at Flight to say a little bit more.
Hey there, Taylor, and thanks for the introduction, and thanks for having us as part of See Ahead. Am I coming through okay on this thing? Okay, so every industry in the world uses some kind of protective coating product and coating maintenance for their stuff, with costs running in the hundreds of billions, but the loss and damage from coating failure are catastrophic. Aircraft ice up and pipelines rust and cardiac implants clot, and that's just a short list of hundreds that we have. So at Flight, instead of another coating or another nanotech additive, we apply a patented laser technique to sculpt microscopic textures on any product. So without changing the fundamental properties of metal or glass or plastic, we create a surface that cleans and protects itself. So our goal is to extend the life of products and slash costs and avoid using billions of gallons of toxic chemicals for protection and cleaning. And we've got projects going this year in aviation, oil and gas, food and beverage, and water treatment. We're also trying to demonstrate that every manufactured product can be made permanently antibacterial. So this is the story of Flight, and we are also in Greentown Labs. But if you go to the next slide, we'll tell you what our story is with these wonderful people at See Ahead and Blue Swell. So we have this new technology we're taking out of the lab and industrializing, and people are using it to save energy and reduce greenhouse gases and reduce fuel consumption and all sorts of other benefits all over the clean tech roadmap. And the goal is to take the technology, make these tools, and put it into the client supply chain. But the people who founded this company, myself and the team that's now there, have our expertise in aviation and oil and gas and defense, but we knew nothing, zero, about the marine industry. We knew nothing about ocean marine technology and marine transportation. We really had flat nothing, couldn't tell the difference between an aircraft carrier and a dinghy. But we have some customers, we have some traction, we have a technology. And if we go to the next slide, when we were going through the TechStars program in Boston in 2019, we were looking for other kind of innovation activities around the city to get oriented. And we literally wandered into a See Ahead presentation at the last minute, found it at 4 o'clock on the tee and in their offices at 5 o'clock when people were pitching. And since then, we have joined See Ahead. We've talked to their people. They've encouraged us that they have great programming, like everybody else has great programming and great mentors. But what I want to say about See Ahead is that they welcomed us, even though we didn't know what the heck we were talking about. We didn't know what our value proposition was. And they shepherded us through to the point where we know what we have to say. We have a credible deck. We have some credible projects underway, and we're eligible for some of their funding programs. So I strongly recommend going to See Ahead and seeing this broad group of companies that you can collaborate with and get mentorship from. And that's the story of Flight at See Ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dan. Right on time. Appreciate that. Next up, Ian Johnston from The Engine.
Oh, there we go. All right, thank you. Hello, my name is Ian Johnston. I'm part of the investment team here at The Engine. Next slide, please. The Engine is a VC firm born out of MIT that invests in early stage tough tech companies with the goal of really solving the world's biggest problems. To facilitate and accelerate that path to market for our tough tech companies, we work in 3 key pillars. As I mentioned, we provide funds through our VC section, investing in pre-seed, seed, series A range usually, working with either established or first-time founders right out of the academic lab. We generally invest in the Northeast locale, but we have made a few investments outside of that area as well. The second key pillar for us is our infrastructure. We have office, lab, machine shop space, all available to our portfolio companies to accelerate those early days of growth. And starting in 2022, we'll be expanding this to 155 1,000 square foot area here in Cambridge, Massachusetts, which will also include biolabs, chem labs, industrial fabrication space, shops, events, conference space, whatever is kind of needed, all overall, all to further support our growing portfolio companies. Lastly, through our engine network, we connect founders to key contacts, both internally and externally, to help them grow their teams, build their business, raise additional capital, really trying to help them grow beyond us to kind of have further success. Next slide, please. And so with these contributing factors, we aim to unlock the potential of MIT and surrounding institutions and region to translate technologies from the bench top to the market and really help transform society across all these types of technological spaces, including climate change. So if you're interested in hearing more or just connecting, please do reach out. Thank you.
Thank you, Ian. Look forward to seeing those new facilities. Next up, call on Chris Nsiv from UMass Lowell.
Great. Is my slide up or hopefully coming up? Oh, wow. The color scheme looks a little different than what I thought. Anyhow, my name is Chris Nsiv. I'm a professor at UMass Lowell in the Department of Mechanical Engineering, and I'm representing the energy research that's going on at the university. So we have several different thrust areas at the university that we're involved in. So one is clearly wind energy. We've got a lot of faculty working in solars, in biofuels, and also in hydrogen. We have a nuclear energy program, nuclear reactor on campus that we do research in. And there's a vibrant set of faculty working on energy storage related activities. Let me go to the next slide. So one of the other hats that I wear is that I'm the director of the WindStar Center, which is an industry university cooperative research center related to wind energy. This is the only one in the United States that the National Science Foundation is supporting. We have a collection of companies, and you can see that in the top right, that are part of the center. So GE is our OEM, plus we have 5 owner operators, which are Leeward, Pattern, EDP Renewables, Shell, Avangrid. Plus we have got blade manufacturers like TPI Composites, materials companies, other companies that are working on structural health monitoring, controls, those sorts of things. So we have quite a few different collection of organizations that are part of the center, all interested in research pertaining to wind energy, offshore and onshore as well. We also have a few materials that we can provide. So we have a brochure that talks about energy in a general way, and I'm happy to send that to anybody who's interested. And we also have a directory of faculty members who are working in the energy space. We're primarily interested in conducting research, performing engineering services, collaborating on grants that are state or federal. So for example, DOE or ARPA-E, and also collaborating on things like SBIRs, STTRs. We also have access to what's called a core research facility, and it enables companies to come and use the facilities that we have. So for example, a clean room or atomic force microscopes or any kind of tensile testing machines, et cetera. The last thing I'll say is that we have just recently started what's called the RIST Institute of Sustainability and Energy. And I'm a co-director of that. So you'll be hearing a lot more about that in the coming months. But if you have an interest in collaborating with us, please reach out to me. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. And I think next up, your testimonial startup is Dan from Blackburn.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, Dan.
Great. Yeah, this is Dan Tobin. We work with UMass Lowell. Our company is Blackburn Energy, and we aren't in the wind space, but we are is really in a heavy mechanical product. You can go to the next page, please. Next slide. Yeah, what we do is we have a mechanical, electrical, and software device that captures the motion of a truck, the drive shaft in particular, to create clean energy. And it's a quick payback. We've got about 750,000 miles, road miles, with customers on the road. We've already sequestered almost 200 tons of CO2. Our customers are really fleets and OEMs making partnerships now, really focused on growing and scaling up the company. We have version 1 in the marketplace, and we're looking to really build version 2. That's the next step. To support that, we're looking, of course, like pretty much every startup, we're looking to gather some more funding. And then with that funding, we'll be looking to do some hiring and scaling. Can you go to the next page? And just explaining the connection to UMass Lowell, we were really introduced to them through Greentown Labs. We had some connections there that also were working with UMass Lowell. And we had a grant, and we're looking to use the grant or part of the money from the grant to help validate the technologies that we have in place. That the industry we're in is very conservative. They want to test and learn, and they want to see that a product really works before they put out any kind of money. So we were able to work with Professor Hunter Mack and his team and put together a process to collect data. We put data gathering equipment on the trucks that were running the technology. And then with that data, we broadcast it every 2 seconds. We gathered the data, and we're able to provide Hunter Mack's team with obviously some pretty large data files. They did a research analysis, helped put together scripts to validate the data, and then provided a report at the end that we're now able to show the industry, show potential customers, and let them see that the data validates the cost savings, the energy savings, the greenhouse gas impact on the industry from the product that we have out there. So the team, I'd say, has been fantastic. If you can go to the next slide, I'll just kind of close out with the lesson that I would share. The main lesson I would give is that you need to be a respectful partner. UMass Lowell has been unbelievable. That really a small fund from us for the grant. They let us stretch it very far. They communicated constantly. They were fantastic partners. And I hope we lived up to our end of the bargain. I think some days we didn't, we were a little too busy. But if you're good to your partner, they'll be good to you. And they did a fantastic job communicating and executing on what we were looking for. And we're very, very pleased with the product that we have, the research report and the analysis.
Thank you, Dan. I think that's great. Great story. Amazing to see the wealth of resources in the region. Next up, we have Greg Flynn from Upward.
All right, fantastic. Thank you, Alistair. Great, I'm Greg Flynn. I'm the program director over at Upward Labs. Next slide. Okay, perfect. So Upward Labs, for those of you who are not familiar with us, we are a venture fund and a startup lab located in Hartford, Connecticut. So the way that our program works is every 6 months, we take 10 amazing startups into our program. That's in 2 areas. One is health tech, which is not relevant here. And the other one is energy efficiency and prop tech, which is absolutely relevant. The way our program works is we do 3 things with our startups. So one is we're a pilot lab. And so we pilot all of the solutions as part of Upward Labs. Over the last year and a half, we've actually done 60 pilots right in downtown Hartford, and it's a real differentiator for our program. Secondly is we network our startups in with all of the big corporations in the area. I've got a slide on who they are. And then lastly, we help with growth plans, financing plans, investor introductions, and raising capital. I will say one thing too, is we have an open challenge right now for energy efficiency, which we are just starting to wrap up. And so for those of you who are interested in applying, I'll post my email and would love to hear from you. This slide talks about how we drive innovation in Hartford. We have really a bunch of spaces that are part of our company. One is a beautiful co-working space. Another one is a beautiful co-living space located right in downtown Hartford, which creates a great environment for all the startups that are part of our program. And next slide. Okay, and this is a list of the partners that participate as part of Upward Labs. Some really great ones: Stanley Black & Decker, Carrier, Travelers, UBS, the Hartford Steam Boiler, just some really wonderful companies that engage. And our program really specializes in helping startups build relationships with companies as opposed to just, transactions. So with that, I would like to introduce you guys to Comfort IQ, John Coe, who's one of the startups as part of our program.
Great. Can you guys see me? Okay, I'll go ahead and assume that you can. Hi, everybody. My name is John. I'm one of the graduates from the last cohort for Upward Labs. I'm also the founder and CEO of Comfort IQ, and our company is solving two of the biggest problems in commercial office buildings, which is energy waste and temperature comfort. Just a quick note before I start, and this is because PropTech is a crowded space, but we have been told that we are unique in the PropTech space. And this has been confirmed by a lot of people in the industry, including, cleantech, PropTech investors, a lot of building owners and facility managers and such. Next slide, please. So everybody here knows the problem of HVAC in commercial real estate, so I won't go into it, but we believe that we have a very unique solution that solves the problem of HVAC energy wasted and temperature comfort in commercial office buildings. And what we are doing is room by room control of the HVAC system with predictive analytics that is an add-on to existing HVAC systems, including BMS, VAV systems, as well as constant volume systems. I know that's a handful. So the very simple explanation in simple English is that we solve the hot office, cold office problem that's prevalent in almost every single commercial office building, while also saving a lot of money on HVAC that is wasted on heating and cooling unoccupied offices and spaces in commercial office buildings. The best part of the Comfort IQ microzone system is that it has a payback of 2 to 3 years, and that we are saving about 50% more of the HVAC energy used in a commercial office building. So we are in, so we've completed our tech. We are in revenue as of last month. We have customer validation because we've only been selling our system for a few months, but we already have about 10 paid projects in the pipeline with more on the way. We're doing projects with some of the biggest real estate companies in the world, including the Irvine Company as well as CBRE. So if there's anyone here that wants to pilot our technology, would love it. So please contact me. We also have a seed round open. So if there's any investors that want to get involved, then please contact me as well. Next slide, please. So we were I told you that we were part of the Upward Labs cohort that just finished this month. And as you heard Greg speak, I think two of the areas where they really shine is in the pilots that they do, as well as some of the relationships that they were able to kind of nurture with their corporate partners. They do a lot of things that other accelerators might do, which is helping with the pitch deck and financial model and those kind of things. But one of the best things was that they're very focused on the practical aspects of it. So we had an investor presentable pitch deck at the end of the 6 months. We had an investor presentable financial model. And like I said, probably the main differentiators about Upward Labs is their guaranteed pilot with their corporate partners. Huge for us because of the data that we were able to get and allowed us to get our customers that we have in the pipeline. In a sense, they were the spark that kind of lit the fire, as well as the meetings that they were able to nurture with the corporate partners. We met with the same partners every month for 5 months.
John,
it was huge.
Time up.
So, all right. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much, John. Great story. Next, please, is Christina Tamer from VentureWell.
Thanks, Alistair. Hi, everyone. My name is Christina Tamer. I'm a director of venture development at VentureWell. We're a 25-year-old nonprofit organization designed to support science and technology innovators solving big challenges. So that oftentimes is clean tech. So about half of the companies we work with are solving environmental challenges. In those 25 years, we've trained nearly 10,000 innovators. They've gone on to start over 2,000 startups that have raised over $1 billion in funding combined. This is pretty small, but our framework is based on 6 dimensions of venture development. So the team, people and how they're organized, the innovation and the IP, also the market and the business model, and then the resources to get all of that done. So we have a set of programming that teaches entrepreneurs everything that they need to know all along these dimensions of venture development. We offer non-dilutive training, discrete specific program stages. Our average program is about 30 hours. That could be over a couple of days, or it could be over a few weeks, depending on the program. We really do focus on, bringing the right mentors and investors into the room. So we focus on sector-specific mentors and investors. We focus on case studies of startups that are just like yours. And we really meet scientific founders where they are. So we are very comfortable with working with university spinouts and companies starting from research labs. Next slide, please. So there's a few different ways you can get involved with VentureWell. This is our primary program. It's the E-Team program that's relevant for you all. It's open to companies from around the country. So if you're a student startup, I recommend you start at stage 1. That's for startups that are still figuring out their market, still figuring out their business model, and still are getting started on customer discovery. We'll teach you about all of that if you're a student entrepreneur, and we'll offer $5,000 and $20,000 in grants. The next deadline for that is May 5th, and we offer 3 deadlines a year. So there'll be other ones in October, and then again in February. We just had one close. If you're a startup that's a little bit further along, as in you've already gotten some prize funding like this, you've already started to do customer discovery, you maybe have done I-Corps, for example, or Cleantech Open, you can apply for our investment readiness program. It's this spring, and the deadline's March 1st. Thanks. I'll hand it over to Elise. She's one of our E-teams.
Great, thanks, Christina. So my name is Elise Strobok. I'm the CEO and co-founder of AeroShield Materials, and we're working to make porous glass insulation for energy efficient windows. And VentureWell has been an important part of that journey for us. So if you go to the next slide, you see a little bit of an overview of what AeroShield does. So we make this amazing material that is more transparent than glass, more insulating than air, and lighter than a marshmallow. And we look at selling this to window and glass manufacturers so that they can incorporate this product to increase the thermal insulation of the windows that they already make today by 50%, which really starts to eat away at those losses in our homes and offices. So AeroShield is still pretty early stage. So we're actually just transitioning from kind of benchtop early manufacturing into a pilot scale setup, which will allow us to do industry standard testing and engagement with customers. But before all of this ever came to fruition, we were just a research idea, my PhD topic. So if we click on the next slide, that's actually the first touch point that I had with VentureWell was a recommendation from a peer who was also founding a company out of their research and wanted all that support about, how do you tackle this? So it was a recommendation by several people actually who spoke very highly of the program and the team. In particular, I chose them because they really do offer this holistic framework of, taking a look at the idea you've got, but looking at all those aspects that Christina mentioned, the team, but also the resources and how you think about IP, and took all of this strategy from from the very seed at the university. Myself and my co-founder had a chance to get in this workshop and just really focus and think and realize where all of our gaps were. And then also have the VentureWell team there to help us find solutions to those gaps or how to answer those key questions. So it was a really great experience, got amazing perspective in a very short amount of time, and had support continually. We went through multiple stages in their programming and have actually received investment from VentureWell and continue to be able to call up the team members and work with them and receive support in all aspects of our development. So if we go to the last slide, I think my biggest recommendation would be just go out and look at the VentureWell programming. There's a wealth of information there, and there's a stage that I'm sure will help your company reach its next growth stage. So yeah, happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Elise. Great story. Good to see them you making progress. Next up is Mark Prince from WorkLab.
Hello, everyone. So we are WorkLab. We're a nonprofit startup incubator located in Worcester, Massachusetts. And we are a diverse community of passionate innovators ranging from IoT to hardware to online software services. We're located in downtown Worcester, easy walking distance to innovation hubs, including WPI, as well as UMass Medical and 10 other universities in the city. Next slide, please. And we support our startups through a wide range of affordable office spaces, prototyping lab space, access to various resources, including CAD licenses, prototyping equipment, as well as a PCB manufacturing line. So you can really get your prototypes out there quickly, and then we'll partner you with numerous partners for scaling up your manufacturing and acquiring investment. And I'm going to now introduce one of our startups, Robert Cooper from MBU.
Hi, everyone. I'm Robert Cooper, co-founder at MBU. What we're creating at MBU is a building intelligence platform for multi-housing. Next slide. Now, the pain problem that we discovered is that in the majority of multifamily buildings, energy efficiency doesn't pay, or at least it doesn't pay enough. And that's because the owner might be paying for that energy efficiency improvement, but it's the residents and the renters that are going to benefit from that on their electric bills, electric and gas bills. So how do we solve that? We realized that by producing a platform rather than a point solution, we could actually solve multiple pain points for the customer and drive strong ROI. We put IoTs on every piece of equipment in the building, in every space, conditioned and unconditioned in the building. And we connect that to AI that's running in the cloud that monitors, manages, and automates the way that building behaves. So this is driving staff productivity improvements on common tasks that they do by a factor of 10, avoiding significant building losses from water leaks, frozen pipes, and equipment failures, saving 20% or more on energy and peak load, and something everybody's discovered is important these days, which is indoor air quality. Next slide. So, yeah, so we're a hybrid hardware and SaaS business model. We sell to all flavors of multi-housing, which includes not just multi-family, but also senior housing and private affordable housing as well. We've got 3,000 IoTs deployed in the field at 42 buildings, and we have zero churn across our 10 customers. The next step for us is raising investment to expand nationally. Next. So I was lucky enough to have a co-founder that had a strong set of Worcester connections. Otherwise, quite frankly, I wouldn't have known about WorkLab. And I can say that we maybe chose the WorkLab originally because of the space, but I think we stayed around because of the people and the connections. So on the space, Mark's already talked about the fantastic facilities there. It was very cost effective for us. We also had flexible needs at various times to really expand and do a lot of testing in that building, using the building actually as a test lab for our systems. But more importantly, we got a lot of talent from actually half of our team actually is hired from Worcester universities or from Route 495 companies. And we connected with both partners and potential customers. Next slide. My main recommendation is first of all to get out a map and find Worcester. That's what I did, and it was a surprise to me how connected it is with major highways, commuter rail, and really literally centrally located in the state. And definitely talk to me, talk to Mark on the breakout sessions.
That is great. Thank you, Robert. Great story. Good to see you. Worcester still lively. So we have come to the end of all the presentations, and now we're ready for round 2 of the breakouts. So I hope all of you know how to navigate to that. Find the breakout room button at the or icon at the bottom of your screen in your menu line and go to the breakout that you want to go to. All of the presenters will be in one of the breakouts. So have fun. We'll see you about 15 minutes. Bye.
And again, if anyone's having trouble getting into a breakout room, please let me know. This is Debbie.
Hey, Debbie. Sam Crum with Greentown Labs again. I'm still not seeing the Breakout Rooms menu. So if you could please just place me in Greentown's room, would really appreciate it. Thank you.
I'm sorry, what room? Greentown?
Yes, please.
Greentown doesn't have a breakout
Yeah.
room in this round, so is there another one from those presentations that just took place that you'd prefer?
Gotcha. It's a great question. I'll go to NSIV, please.
Which one was that? I'm sorry.
I just assigned you to it,
Oh,
Sam,
okay.
so you should get
Okay.
it. If anyone else who's still in this main room would like to be assigned to a room, please just let me know. Mass Challenge only has 3 people in their room, so if you'd like to go speak with them, same with NECEC's Navigate and UMass Lowell. No, Alistair, just wanted to remind you that I have the event attendee poll ready to run in event when you are closing out the event. I'll open that once everyone gets back from the breakout rooms.
Yeah, I'll start with that and then start my thanks. Okay. So.
And I'll just leave that up until the event ends.
Yeah. That's great. Thanks, Mary Elizabeth. Thank you for all your hard work today. It's been a lot of slides to turn.
I think that was probably, like we decided earlier, the most efficient way to do it, though. Because if we hadn't had to switch between that many people sharing screen, I think we'd be done in another 2 hours.
Yeah, well, we got a compliment from Robert Cooper saying amazing that we were ahead of time.
Yeah, that is pretty impressive. You were a very strict timekeeper, which was good.
That was great.
I let a few people have a few extra seconds. That was it.
I think it was pretty fair overall, though.
Yeah, I forgot to put a timer on a few people. It's a good group there. It's amazing, this ecosystem.
Very impressive.
This breakout room feature is fantastic. I've jumped in and out of a few rooms. It's good.
That's great. I like to hear that.
Yep. Thank you, Debbie, for setting it up.
Oh, no problems. You're welcome.
Might jump back into another room.
There's 8 minutes left on the timer, so you definitely have time.
Yeah.
Hi, whoever's there. I'm gonna move into another room. Let's see, what's a good one?
Oh, good for
There's
you.
only 3 people in the mass challenge room, Beth.
Oh, I could say hi to them, or I could actually, I think I'm gonna go to Upward. That also has few. Bye.
I think she was the first one that did that. I think that's great.
Yeah. Hi, Jill, Bob. I see you have your video on. Would either of you like to be sent to a breakout room? Bob, you're muted right now.
You can send me to anyone that needs more attendance, if Mary Elizabeth.
Okay, I'll send you to one right now. You may actually have to do it yourself because you're not coming up. Oh,
okay.
I think I can do it. If you'd like to do it though, there's very few people in the mass challenge room.
Okay, I'll go to mass
go say hi
challenge.
to Navigate too.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to MIT Enterprise Forum. See you.
Sounds good.
Mary Elizabeth, just a quick question. What time is this wrapping up?
At 6:30.
Okay, and is it just closing remarks?
Yes, just bringing everyone back and thanking them for attending primarily.
Then I'm going to thank you right now because I just got a call from an elderly parent that, you know, I don't like to let go too long.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Thank
you so much.
Fabulous. Take care.
You too.
I just sent out the 5-minute warning.
Awesome.
Elizabeth, okay.
And I have that poll ready to go when everyone comes back. I think I'll just broadcast that once all the rooms are fully closed.
Just a couple more minutes.
So welcome back to the main room. We'll just wait a few more seconds for people to rejoin. Deb, can you tell me how many people we should be expecting back in?
It's about 20.
20 more?
They're all, it's totally closed. So who's ever in the official room now, we're all set.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, Mary Elizabeth, if you could launch the poll. Thank you all, everyone, for lasting the course. It's been a great afternoon and evening. We're just going to ask you if you could just fill out a quick poll to let us know what you thought and if we could do anything to improve this again in the future. But I've heard some great accolades so far, so appreciate everyone being here today and joining in. I do want to thank all of the speakers who did a great job keeping on time. We appreciate that. And also just helping everyone to understand the wealth of resources we have in this amazing ecosystem. I think it constantly surprises people with the depth and range and diversity that we have here. And I think it really was on display tonight. So really appreciate all the stories which came out. I would like to thank again the team that made this great event happen. Debbie and Mary Elizabeth helping in the background and turning all those slides. That was great work. And making those breakout rooms function fantastically. So appreciate your help there. Thanks to Vanessa, Jill, and Alex from the Cleantech Committee of the MIT Enterprise Forum that we inherited this event from. Thanks for all your tips and guidance. And thanks to the NECEC team for helping make this work, for Beth and Katerina, who not only spoke today, but helped plan this event and get a lot of our partners here. And thanks to everyone for participating. It really was for you, and I'm really pleased that you stayed and participated in the breakouts. So we hope that this catalyzes lots of connections and helps some of the startups find out where they're going to go next and maybe plot their path like a chess player through the field of all of these great programs. As you can see, many of the startups that you heard from tonight have done multiple programs, and I think that's what this is all about. And if you need any help from us, you've got that roadmap which we sent out, which has all the information about the partners and the startups. So you should have that in your inbox, and that should be your map and your Bible to be able to plot your path in the future. So I think we've got a great number of people voting. If people have not voted, please just fill in the survey. And if anyone would like to say a parting word, I think we have a few minutes. But thank you very much.
I'd like to say one quick thing, which is that this is an amazingly supportive group of partners and startups, and the whole ecosystem is amazing around here. So thank you all for being here. And if anyone has any questions about Cleantech Open, there are lots of ways to find me.
Thank you, Beth.
Yeah.
Alistair, I just wanted to add in, I saw this photo of a protest sign that said, it had the earth, and it said, ask not what your earth can do for you, ask what you can do for, well, ask not what your planet can do for you, ask what you can do for your planet. And I just like, that's kind of cool.
Very relevant today. That's great, Judith. Thank you. All right. Well, I think if we haven't got any more comments, I think, Mary Elizabeth, we've got most people voted, right, in the poll?
Yes, we have poll results, and I'll share those with you, Alistair. Thank you, everyone.
I can see them on my screen, but it looks like a lot of you are very satisfied and everyone else is just satisfied. So that's fantastic. Thank you very much for the feedback, and have a very good evening. We look forward to seeing you at our next events. Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you, Alistair, as well, for emceeing.
Thank you. Awesome.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.